Great legend, one of my favorite singers, a guy that was very instrumental in my love for music, my affinity for that style of music. They call it blue-eyed soul, or I call it R&B. Joe Cocker passed away yesterday at a very young age of 70. He succumbed to lung cancer. But he was quite the... were you a fan of Joe Cocker, Billy?
Well, not really, but I knew of Joe Cocker, and I'd heard his voice. I've watched him perform, but I wasn't a big fan. I liked his name. I mean, that was attractive to me, and I heard about his passing. I felt badly for him. I guess he was pretty... Was he an inspiration to the Stones or something?
No, the Beatles. He was. He had balls. He took. You know, the Beatles have a sound. They have an incredible fan base even today. When did they break up? In 67, 71? When did they break up?
I'm going to say it's closer around 68, 69,
yeah,
70.
So they broke up a long time ago, but there's still a huge amount of Beatle fans, Beatle-ophiles that exist. But anyways, just for right now, we're showing on the monitor, Joe Cocker was on Saturday Night Live, and the real Joe Cocker, and Belushi used to do a Joe Cocker. Unfortunately, ironically, they're both gone. And he did a great Joe Cocker voice, and Joe Cocker sneaked up on him.
I remember that. It was hilarious because it was perfect, right? He nailed it, and Joe Cocker went along.
Well, they looked
right?
exactly like Joe Cocker. I love Joe Cocker. I thought Joe Cocker was an incredible soul singer. I'm going to miss him. And what he did, Billy, is he took a big chance. He took a Beatles tune and he did a cover, which you had to have big guts to do that, because it's like somebody trying to remake Gone with the Wind. There's certain things that cannot be redone. And he did I Need a Little Help from a Friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And it became bigger than the actual song that the Beatles recorded. And, he did it in a different style. Anyways, he was very well respected. He went through a very hard time in his life. He became a heroin addict. He drank quite a bit, and things like that catch up. But goodbye, Joe Cocker. Rest in peace. I was a big fan.
John Russell Cocker.
Yeah, John Russell Cocker.
He was one of the key in Woodstock. When you think back about Woodstock, the movie, that was it. That's where you talked about the song. Well, that was it right there. Of all the acts, when you think about Woodstock, that was one of the key ones.
He does the afternoons. He was at Woodstock and was talking about it yesterday afternoon when I tuned in the all news station just to catch up. But obviously a music aficionado in addition to reading the news.
Yeah, Joe Cocker also reinvented himself. I don't know how many times. You think of The Officer and the Gentleman, the song? That was Joe Cocker.
I don't think he ever. I don't think he ever reinvented himself. And I can hear you guys whispering in the studio. It's annoying. Like big rats eating cheese in the corner. Joe Cocker did never. Joe Cocker was always Joe Cocker. If you were a Joe Cocker fan in the '70s, you were a Joe Cocker fan today. He did the Billy Preston song, "You Are So Beautiful to Me." There's specific guys, people like Bobby Darin. Mac the Knife was his. He owned Mac the Knife, and there's people who do. But Bobby Darin did a great Frankie Valli tune, "You're Just Too Good to Be True," and he did a great job, and he was very successful with that. But some guys, some singers, not guys, some singers put their label on a tune, and nobody can ever redo it. Nobody can ever or do it justice, I believe. And I think that he was one of the few guys that he went through. We went to see Joe Cocker a long time ago in New York, and he came out inebriated, and he didn't finish the first song, and he fell. But people forgave him. What are you going to do?
I got to meet him, actually. About 2 years ago, my brother, who's a promoter, brought him into Toronto, and got to see him behind stage, and I was amazed, because first of all, very tiny individuals, very small individual, right? And it's just, you're standing in front of the presence of greatness. Joe Cocker was an enduring figure, and Frank, you'll appreciate this. If you're able to carry your music through how many generations? 4 generations? That's the test of time. His music stood the test of time, and I disagree with you because he did reinvent himself from being a hard rocker to doing a soft song like Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong with Jennifer Warnes, and that was a key song.
I don't think he was a rocker, dude.
I think he was.
I think he was an R&B guy, and when he sang in Woodstock, he was an R&B guy. But the thing that Joe Cocker was very talented in, he always had great musicians behind him, great guitar players, and they loved him. And you know, you were very lucky to meet him. I never got a chance to meet him. I wish I would have had the honor to meet him. But people I know who knew him said he was an intellectual, very friendly guy, very charismatic, and very kind and very unassuming.
And off stage, that's what you're saying, right? You see these guys on stage, Frank, you know it, because when you go on stage, you have to entertain the people. You can't just be dull. You have to assume a certain type of presence. Off stage, when I saw him, very quiet. It wasn't the Joe Cocker that you would see on stage, because again, the active persona that was Joe Cocker on stage was not the person I saw off stage.
Well, he's very, very troubled soul. He was a very troubled soul throughout his career. Struggled extremely hard to make it in the industry. Very tough industry to be successful in. It's easier to win a lottery than it is to be successful in the music business. He was, you know, grew up in the late 50s in England, when they were trying to find their musical appetite, and there was a lot of diverse styles of music at that time. And I think that the Beatles, when they started their style of music, that poppy mixture of even with classical chords and stuff, it shocked the world, you know, because rock and roll, it was the same 4 or 5 chords. It was a G, E minor, C, and D. Like, and every tune had the fundamental foundation of those chords. Anyways, God bless. You know who he reminds me of? Van Morrison. Van Morrison is very talented, but very shy, very unassuming, giant talent. And you know, Van Morrison is timeless. I'm a big fan.
Another example of what you just said right now, timeless quality. Van Morrison could come up with a song today and it would be important.
But people who are fans of Van Morrison are fans of Van Morrison. They're not fans of the cliche of what's cool in the moment. They find Van Morrison cool all the time, and he's got tunes like Moon Dance, you know, like some of the things that he's done. And that's what Joe Cocker reminds me of. You know, he's just very. When I hear "You Are So Beautiful" is probably been redone 740 billion times, but there's only one person, for me, who and there's.
And the ending of that song, right? When
he goes falsetto, which is a little uncommon for his very rough, gruffy. I love Joe Cocker, and I was a big fan, and it was very sad to hear the news yesterday. God bless Joe Cocker, and hopefully find some peace now.